Hello, friends, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I'd like to welcome everybody here from all over the U.S. and all around the world. We are excited today because I am going to be playing with embossing folders again. I've been having so much fun with these new embossing folders, and I hope you guys are getting some fun ideas to use with embossing folders you already have and the new ones that might be on the way to you or have already delivered. It is great to see all of you coming in. And before we get started, how about if we say a warm hello to our friend Tom? Hey, Tom.
Happy crafternoon.
How are you over there in the dead space?
Still listen to the music.
Oh, you are? Is it still playing?
No, yeah.
Oh, just your own music.
Yeah, so how you doing?
I'm doing well. I am excited about today's video.
Yeah, it's Thursday, crafternoon.
It is Thursday. The week is coming to an end quickly, and the weekend is coming upon us. So, hey, somebody said Tom's not croaky anymore.
Yeah, a little bit of croak left, but
Tom's had a steady diet of cough drops.
Oh yeah, I am refreshed.
You are. What kind of cough drops are you taking? Are you eating?
I'm eating the Hall's Mentholyptus made in Canada. Thank you guys.
Okay. Well, I'm
all
glad.
Our friends up north.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
By next week, the croak will be gone completely.
Yeah, I'm starting to like it though. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of doing a lot of Lou Rawls.
Yeah, all
music.
kinds of that kind of stuff.
And who's the other one?
Barry White.
Barry White, yeah.
Yeah.
So your music.
See, it's gone already. It wasn't. Enjoyed it while I was there.
Right. Oh, well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and it's good to see you.
Yes, you too.
All right. Okay, everybody. Well, I see lots of people coming in. Marianne said it sounds sexy, Tom. Except when he's hacking all through the night. That's when the sex appeal goes away.
Yeah, there's much more of that.
All right. Well, so we did sell out of one of our embossing folders, but even so, I'm going to still show you techniques with them because a lot of you have them on the way. And also you have lots of other embossing folders in your collection. So you can use those as well to do today's technique. So one of the things that I really like to do with embossing folders is I like to use more than one on my card project. You can do this very easily. You can also leave space for a greeting, and it's really fun, and it'll make a lot of people go like, ooh, how did they do that? So I think we'll get right into it. So here are the embossing folders that we have in our collection. Just in case you're watching for the first time and you're new to Gina K Designs, these are our embossing folders. This is the Petite Flourish, the Swiss Dot, the Tapestry, and the Lattice. So just as a rule of thumb for these kinds of cards where I use more than one embossing folder, I like to mix and match something like a floral or a vine or some kind of greenery type of design like the Tapestry or the Petite Flourish with a simple pattern like a Swiss Dot or a Lattice. So actually when I designed the first 4 embossing folders, I made sure that we had 2 of each because obviously these kinds of patterns are great for any kind of card when you want to add texture. But when you're mixing, I mean, it would still look pretty to mix 2 florals like this or 2 viney things like this. But I think it's more striking when you have one that's a little bit more simple, that's more of a texture, and then one that's more intricate. So that's what we're going to do. So the first one I'll do are 2 that I think are still in stock. I think I'll mix the Petite Flourish with the Swiss Dot, and then we'll go back and do the Tapestry with the Lattice. Now, this is pretty easy to do. What I suggest is you cut a piece of cardstock down to a 1/4 sheet, which is 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. You can also do this on slimline cards. You can do this on mini slimline cards, any size that you want, even a 5 by 7 card, because our embossing folders are a 5 by 7. But this, for practicing today, we're just going to use A2. All right. Linda, we have had so many discontinued stamps and cardstock And gosh, I don't even know all of the old stamp sets that are discontinued. I wouldn't even know how to put a list like that together. But the best way to find out if something is discontinued is just to go to our website and search it. And if it's not there, that means it is gone. So if you have something in your collection and you want to see if it's still current. Other than that, we've been in business for almost 16 years. We've been producing stamp sets and having monthly releases, and I think we've probably had over 1,000 stamp sets in our collection, and we keep an average of about 300 to 300 in our inventory. So it's really difficult for us to go back. Sometimes I go into our group and somebody's using an old stamp set, and I'm like, that's not a Gina K design stamp set. And I go, oh my gosh, it is from back in 2007. So I'm sorry about that. I haven't kept very good records on what has been discontinued over the years. Okay, so now I'm going to bring out my die cutting machine. I'm using the Spellbinders machine. It is my favorite die cutting machine for manual cutting. My favorite electronic one or electric one is the Gemini. Really love these machines. But I'm going to use this one today just because most people have a hand crank one, and I want to show you the best way to do it with this. So I'm going to start with just the basic platform. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose a spot that I would like to have my greeting. So for example, if you want your greeting down here at the bottom, then you're going to put your embossing folder down very low onto your card. If you want to have it somewhere right in the middle, then you're going to do more of a split design. You're going to have your embossing folder only be embossing part of the way down. And that's what I'm going to do with this card. I'm going to create a panel in the center where I can add a greeting, and then I can put a little floral design. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to find a spot on my card where I want my greeting to start. And I think it's going to be right about there. So I've placed this in my embossing folder, but I've only put it down halfway, less than halfway onto the card, keeping the edge out like that. Okay. And then I'm going to place that onto my platform. And you do want to make sure that it's fairly straight. I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to place this blue plate on top. Now I can place the blue plate just so that it goes right to the edge of the design, like that. This way I'm less apt to actually emboss the edge of the embossing folder into my cardstock. So let's see how this pushes through. Okay, so before I do that, one thing that you can do if you really want to make sure that everything stays into place is you can take some washi tape and you can washi tape this whole thing down onto your platform just to keep it in place. Like that. That'll help a little bit. All right. Let's try to get this to go through here. Now, if it's too tight, like mine's feeling very tight because of where I place this, move the whole thing down and get the emboss, because I had the embossing folder right up against the edge of the plate like that. I want to get it down further onto my platform. This way, this plate goes past the top of the embossing folder. Sometimes it's hard to get it to go through when it's that high up. So let's fix that again. Get that in there. Okay, here we go. We're going to run it through. It's going to make a loud noise. Mute the mic. Crack through. Sorry, Tom. All right. Maybe we should do this with cardstock instead of this plate, just for the sake of everybody's ears. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. You can see I just have partial embossing there, right? Okay. Now we're going to pick the other embossing folder.
So question, what master die collection would you recommend purchasing first?
So the first one, I think, would either be Master Layouts 1 or Master Layouts 2, just so that you can do all of that nice layering for basic A2 cards. And then you can advance from there. Okay, so I'm going to place this, and you see I still have that open space in there. Now, if you want, you could take your washi tape and tape it around there so it's nice and tight. There's a lot of ways that you can hold all of this together. That's one way to do it. That'll hold things together because it's putting some pressure on there. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put my plate in here, but I'm only going to go down to the end of the design, not to the end of the embossing folder, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna make this loud this time. I'm gonna go through fast. Rhinestones and crystals just flew all over the place.
Violent.
It's a very violent technique. Yes, it is. Okay, so now I'm going to peel this off. This washi tape. Maybe I'll do the next one with cardstock, and we'll see if that's less violent. It doesn't have to have this kind of impression. Okay, so I did this one backwards. So my dots are going inward, which is fine. You can do that. If you don't want it that way, then obviously go in the opposite direction. But you can look and see which direction you want the things to go. And if I wanted to redo that, and I probably will, I'm going to redo that with just cardstock. Let's try it with just cardstock. See if it's less violent. I think it will be. Okay, so, and it's probably going to be a lot easier to push through. So let's take a piece of cardstock. We'll do that one more time. I have a really cute idea for this card too. Okay, so what I neglected to tell you is you want to make sure the top of the card is the recessed part. The part where you can feel the design should go on the bottom. So that probably is an important point to make. So, but this is live, so this is how we figure what to say and what to remember out. This is where we air it out. Okay, so I'm squeezing that together there like this. Now I'm going to use the cardstock technique for this one. So to emboss with cardstock and not this plate, you're going to just use your clear plate on top, and then you're going to put some cardstock on there. At least 2 pieces of cardstock to increase the pressure. This will be much easier going through. Oh my goodness, that's so much easier going through. Okay. So let's see how that looks. Poor Tom is wearing headphones. Can you imagine how loud that was in headphones? Okay, so there you go. You can see, can they see that design okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's one side, and now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. We're going to find where the dots press out, where you can feel the dots, and we're going to swap that out, that same position with the dot folder. Here we go. And the dots are easy to line up. You just have to make sure the edge of your cardstock lines up with all of those dots. Oh, that's a good idea. Mary said she labels hers front and back. That's really smart. Okay. And I think I want my dots to be a little bit more pronounced. So I'm going to place 2 pieces of cardstock there, and I'm going to add 1 more piece of cardstock just to get it a little thicker and see how that goes through. This might make a sound, Tom. Get ready. Oh, no, that's not so bad. Yeah, the cardstock method might be a little quieter. Okay. And there is, 3 pieces of cardstock is just perfect. I like that. Okay, now once we have this design, then we want to finish off the edge. So let's get the embossing buddy. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I want to give that a nice crisp embossed line. So somebody else was wearing headphones and they said it was loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a line close to the edge. And even though this is the raised area, I'm just going to start the line here just to kind of create the line. Then I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to score it again on that same line. I'm going to give it 2 or 3 nice deep score lines. And look how nice that finishes that off. Isn't that nice and crisp? The reason I'm doing it this way is because I really want to see where the design is. I mean, you can see it from the back, but I really want to see, like, that looks really good. Okay. So once I have that, then I'm going to go and place it down off of the top edge here. And I'm going to really score it about 3 times. Okay, so look at how pretty that is. That just finishes those designs off so nicely, doesn't it?
Huge.
Love that. Okay. So now I'm going to trim this down to a size that I want. So you could use the master layouts at this point, but if you're going to use master layouts, I do suggest that you die cut your piece first, because when you run it through the die cutting machine, it can press some of the dots down and make them flat. And I really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to cut 1/4 inch off of each side here to take it down to 3.5. Now here's where you can decide which way is up. How do you want this to look? Do you want a smaller panel at the top and a larger panel at the bottom? And you can trim it based on where that is. I think I'm going to keep mine fairly equal. So I'm going to cut 1/4 inch off the bottom. But see here how it looks like I could have gotten a little bit closer to the dots there. You can do that. You can go a little closer to the edge of the dots and then just measure on this side going to the 5-inch mark, because this side you can't really tell. So now I've got 3 3/4 by 5, and that will fit the master layouts 1 if you want to do the black panel, which you know I'm going to do the black panel because I can't live without my black panel of cardstock. Somebody in my last live said, why do you always use black? Use a different color. I actually did in my last card. I'm still getting over that. But, you know, it's not a Gina K card unless there's a little black on the card somewhere. So this is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then that's going to layer nicely onto that panel. Isn't that just a pretty look? 3 3/4 by 5 is the size of the white piece. Okay, so let's put this one aside for right now. And let's try something a little bit different, a different way to do partial embossing. This was using the 2 pieces. Let's use 1 piece and let's try something a little different. So this is what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to emboss down the side. So the way to do that, this is not going to fit in here, but you should be able to get it in just a little, you know, just a portion of it. And then you can have like a little panel where there's nothing going on. If you want to emboss just a tiny little bit, I would say either do a strip or use a bigger die cutting machine like the Gemini or like the big platinum machine. I only have the small platinum machine. We could do something like this. Let's try this. We could do something this way. So we'll try it. So I'm going to cut this piece of cardstock down to my finished size, which is going to be 4 3/4 inch by 3.5 inches. This would be the same size as the master layouts 2. All right. And then I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to use the Tapestry. And we're going to do the other method, not the blue plate method, not the plate that kills Tom's ears. So we're going to put this in up to a certain point of where we want it. Ooh, you know what would be really pretty? Let's do one on each side. Let's use this Tapestry on each side. So we definitely want to make sure that we have the protruding side, the side with the design on the bottom. And we'll get that in there. Oh, this is going to be really pretty. I'm kind of excited about this. And you know what? I don't need the line for this because I don't need the score line for this because the edge of this embossing folder is a very intricate edge and it is a design. So you don't really need to finish it off. It's going to be kind of finished off on its own. All right. So I'm going to tape this together nice and tight. Get it in place where I want it. Okay. And then I'm going to put my plate on top down to the edge of the design, not to the edge of the embossing folder. Can you see that down there on the bottom of the screen? Okay. And then my 3 pieces of cardstock so I can get a nice thick embossed design. Deep embossed design, I should say. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at that. Oh, I could hear the crunchiness. This is a good impression. Look how pretty that is. And it's all just finished on the edge. See, nothing's cut off. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. So let's flip it around and we'll do the other side the same way. Try to get it in about the same amount. Like that. Okay. And we will finish that off the same way. Remember, we're not going right to the edge here because we don't want the embossing folder to press in. And we're going to go right to the edge of the plate there. Okay, here we go. I like the 3 pieces of cardstock method. I think that's going to be my preferred method so I don't have to pick up all the sequins that fly out of all my jars every time I do this technique. All right. And there is the other side. That's so pretty. And you don't need to do any line or anything with that. This could even be like in this direction. That would be so pretty. So let's mount this on a black piece. It's just so elegant. Now this black piece is going to measure 3 5/8 of an inch. And again, you can cut this with master layouts too by 4 7/8 of an inch. Let's see what that looks like. That looks really nice together. Yeah, I kind of like the landscape look. All right. Well, we've got a little bit of time. Let's turn these 2 cards into actual real cards. I would have liked my Petite Flourish to be a little bit deeper, but I think it's going to be okay. I think the 3 pieces of cardstock work better than just the 2 pieces. But again, you have to try it with your own embossing machine because your machine might be a little tighter or a little looser, and you might need a 4th piece, or you might only need 2 pieces. I'm not 100% sure because everyone is different. So let's just layer these pieces together. We'll get this part done. Okay. That looks so nice. It always looks so good on black to me. I know. I use it all the time. This one is a little bit more warped because it's such a thick and intricate design. So I used a little bit of extra tape around the edge to make sure that everything stays in place.
So what's the best card weight to use with embossing?
So for me, I like using anything from 80 pound to 100 pound. I don't particularly like to emboss with our 120 pound white or ivory. I think it's just too thick. All right, so let's make a little card using some ephemera on this one, and maybe I'll do a little stamping thing for this one. Maybe I'll make those pieces first and then we'll assemble the card all at the same time. All right, so I thought that this particular stamp set, which is called Flowing Florals, would make a really nice card. So I'm going to grab these 3 flowers and this and the 2 leaves, maybe even this. And then I'm going to get my Misty. Now, I use a lot of turquoise. I use a lot of pink, but I don't use a lot of blue. And I don't know if I've done much with blue lately, but I think I need to use some blue ink today. So I thought a really pretty color combination would be powder blue and maybe a little bit of blue denim. So let's stamp these flowers in powder blue.
So if you get cuts in the paper, what does that mean?
That means it's too tight. So if the paper's tearing, and I'll show you, because my first one that I did, I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it. I think I had one earlier that I was working on, and it tore the paper. And that just means that the sandwich is too tight. So if you're getting tearing, try to cut back on either how many layers you're putting of cardstock, or if you're using the blue plate, maybe switch to the cardstock method. Okay, so let's get powder blue. I love this color. Isn't this a gorgeous color? I should be on the screen now. You should be able to see this on the screen. Hopefully you can. I'll back out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ink these up with some powder blue first. And I'm going to use my Chucky tool to put some pressure down. That is such a pretty blue, isn't it? I'm going to do a little bit more. I didn't go all the way down to the stem because I'm actually going to put a little green on that part. Just do a second layer of powder blue here. There we go. Okay. So now I think I want to add a little bit of blue denim. This is going to lighten up. It's just that it's wet that it looks so dark. Let me get a blue denim ink cube. Here's my blue denim ink cube. And let's see. Give me a second. Okay. So for very intricate little areas, have you seen these at the cosmetic store? At the Walgreens? They're just little cosmetic sponges. They come in a whole bunch of different sizes. Like I have this little tiny one that looks like an egg. It has one like this that I've used quite a bit. This one I was using with a little bit of gold something or other, I don't know. But you can use something like this. I think this is eyeshadow on here. Let me wipe that off. You know, because it's cosmetics. I think actually that is eyeshadow on there. All right. So I'm going to use this little sponge, but you can also use like a finger dauber. You might have some sponge daubers that look like this. You could use one of these too. But I have chalk on all of these, so I don't want to get them wet. So I'm just going to use one of these. You could also use a small blending brush, but it's a little easier to use something like this if you just want to kind of get into the center. The stamp set I'm using is Flowing Florals. Flowing Florals. So I'm inking that little dauber up. I got these at Walgreens. They came in a little bag for just a couple of dollars. All right, and I'm going to just add a little bit of blue denim in here. Like this. And then I'm going to stamp that. Now, if that's too circular for you, you can kind of stroke out on it a little bit on the flower. Like that. It's just to add a little bit of shading in there. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. And once that dries, it won't look quite as patterned. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of green down here on the stem. So I'm going to pick a green. I think I'm going to do Fresh Asparagus because that's a darker green. And I'm just going to tap that right on that stem there. And then I'm going to take my tidy towel and I'm just going to clean up off the petals. And then I'm going to stamp that green in there just to add a little bit of green to the bottom, because I'll do some of the other stems in Fresh Asparagus as well. Okay. I'll leave this here and I'll do the stems on the same piece. So we'll have this one, this one. I don't know if I'm going to use all of these. I just want to do them just in case. It doesn't make sense to have everything out and not make a few extra pieces, right? Okay. So let's use Jelly Bean. We'll use Jelly Bean green, and then we'll go back over it with Fresh Asparagus to add some dark in there. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see you. Happy Thursday. I see lots of new friends joining us. Okay. We'll give that another coat. This is just a piece of purple tape. You can use washi tape. Someone was asking what I use on my magnet to make that handle. I just wrapped it around like 3 or 4 pieces and then just trimmed it at the top so that I have like a little handle to lift the magnet. Otherwise, I can't do it. I can't get it off. Okay. So there we've got a little jelly bean on there. Now we'll add a little Fresh Asparagus. Let me grab my cube. Oh, I had my cube. Here's my cube. So we can do this a bunch of different ways. We can either use a sponge dauber again, or we could just kind of go around the perimeter, just kind of bounce some color on there. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Like that. And that'll just add some shading into those leaves. Isn't that pretty? How it just creates a little bit of shading in there. I like that. No, the pressure tool is not in our online store. We are working on our own version of this tool, and as soon as it's available, we'll let you guys know. But the Misty, if you're talking about the Misty, we don't sell the Misty, but you can get it at any of your local craft stores, any of the online bigger stores carry it. Okay, or you can go right to their website. It's mysweetpetunia.com. All right, let's cut these flowers out. And then we'll throw these two cards together. Yeah, I like the blues too. Sometimes the blues are just fun. All right, now it's always a struggle to figure out where this goes. There it is. Just have to spin it a little bit. And yes, I could place everything and cut everything out at the same time. Maybe I'll do that. Or I'll do as much as I can. Some stuff is a little close. I like the pouncing with the ink cube too, Kathy. I think it's just, I don't know, just creates some neat shading that it gives it some dimension. We could have done that with the flowers too, and that would have been a great look. Did I get lucky there? Yes, I did. Woohoo! I know, it is like a puzzle to make it fit. You can see I got a lot of blue on me already. And you see I didn't worry too much about getting some blue on there beforehand because the green kind of covered it up. And green and blue mix really well together. Now you might not get that same result if you were using like yellow and purple. You might get more of a brown. But greens work great with yellows and they work great with blues. All right, let's cut these out first just to make sure all this stays where we want it. I do need another plate. Here we go. I ordered some new plates, a couple sets of new plates. It's like a little treat to get some new plates, isn't it? There we go. So we got those three. They're not really that expensive to get new plates, and it does kind of, I don't know, makes you feel fresh. Oh, I'm such a weirdo. The little things that make me happy, new die cutting plates, always make me happy. Okay, so apparently I lost my two little dies for the leaves here. I forgot all about that. Remember I threw them away or something during one of my videos, and I do not have them. So we might have to cut this out and make this one work. I'll cut this apart. I'm not going to be able to cut these out. You'd think I know somebody here that could help me out with another set, but we'll make it work. I'm not too stressed. We'll trim this one down a bit. Just be fine, just the way it is. I do like the little extra leaves. I could, you know what, I'll fussy cut them real quick. They're so easy to cut. I'll just fussy cut them because I do like having them. And, you know, I wouldn't be fussy cutting this for sure. But these, they're just little ovals. We've got time, so I'll do that real fast. And I will not throw these out. I'm sure you guys have all thrown away a die in your life, right? I'm not the only one. Because I was being very irresponsible. I left them in the piece of paper, and then I was vigorously cleaning. And I just threw the paper out. I will not do that again, though. Only do it once. So we'll just cut this out. It's not a big deal. Have to leave the little white border so it matches the rest. Here's one. If I had to throw out two dies, I'm glad it was these two and not like one of those vines. I have a magnetic dish. This was sent to me as a gift, and I love it. It's just I didn't actually take them out of the paper, and that was where that's where the trouble began. Was just not taking them off the paper, and then I threw the paper away. So, but that's a great idea for anybody who doesn't want to lose dies on your desk. That magnetic dish, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. It's a great idea. Alrighty. So now we've got some of these, and now we're going to decide which one to put these on. I think maybe we'll use this. So we'll just do a little design here. I almost lost these again. See, I love using a whole bunch of the cardstock, like doing a whole design that's almost like going down the cardstock and up the cardstock. And then these two poorly cut little leaves, but I think they're necessary. Put them in there like that. And then we can put our greeting right here. Wouldn't that be pretty? I like that. Okay, so that's going to be one design. And then for the other design, I thought we could use some of the ephemera, because a lot of you got the kit and you have some of this ephemera. So which ephemera haven't I used? You know, I feel like I haven't done a lot of this one. And I really like this together, although there is one that kind of goes with that flower, this one, but I kind of like the delicateness of that. What do you guys think? That's pretty delicate, right? We have a little thing like that up there, and then a couple leaves. We are going to be selling the ephemera separately soon. Some leaves down here. I think that would be pretty, and then have our greeting right over here. So let's do those two layouts. Sometimes I like more flowers, like I like the 3 flowers on this side, but sometimes 2 is just enough. You don't really need a lot. And I know that 2 isn't 3, and a lot of people like that rule of 3s, 3 of everything, but I still think that that looks pretty, just like it is. So I'm going to do a powder blue card base over here, and I'm going to do an innocent pink card base for this one. So let's get the card stock going here. So here's the powder blue. I think that will be very pretty with that. And then we'll get some innocent pink. And I think that will really be very pretty with that. Okay. That's true, Lynn. I have 2 flowers and 3 leaves, so I'm still doing the odd number thing. Maybe that's why it looks okay, because I've got kind of that thing going. All right. So let's cut these pieces of cardstock down, and then we've got to figure out our greetings. Let me use my big paper cutter. So for the innocent pink one, we're going the half sheet this way at the 5.5 inch mark. And for the powder blue one, we're going long way. We're cutting down the center. So cutting that one at 4.25 inches. This is probably not recommended to make 2 cards at the same time. I've got like 2 different thought patterns going, but actually the card layouts are very similar, and you know, we kind of all know where this is going, right? It's kind of my signature floral layout that I love. I always love having one flower that's up on a stem and then some big front-facing flowers. Alrighty, so there are the 2 card bases. Now for greetings, we could use this same stamp set I've got a lot of masks back here that I was using for another project, so it's blocking everything. Let me pull one of these masks off. Well, I don't have to, but I could use the Hello Friend from this stamp set right into that spot, which I think would be very pretty. And then maybe for this one, we do a more delicate. I love the sentiments in this set. We could do Thinking of You. This is the Spring Daffodils that was just released. This is an older set. This was part of a kit, the Flowing Florals. So you guys might have this. Now, if you want something bolder, you know, we could do Hello Friend. Oh, let's move this down a little bit. We could do Hello Friend in there. And that might work too. So let's get the cards all laid out and we'll add the greetings last, because why not really stress everybody out? So do you like the, which do you like on top? I think this on top. I think the Petite Flourish on top. And I only say that because the Petite Flourish is a little smaller than the Swiss Dot. So I think by putting the Petite Flourish on the top, it pulls everything up on the card. You don't like the Hello Friend? You think it's too heavy? Some people like the Hello Friend. Oh my goodness. We're going to have mixed opinions again. Okay. So actually, I am going to stamp the greeting on this one first, because then I can work the flowers around it. So let me move everything out of the way. Okay. So Hello Friend from this one we're going to use. And we'll put it right in here. We'll bring it in just a little bit. Oh, it's sticky. It's a new stamp, so it's sticky, and it's sticking to me. It's hard to place it when it's sticky like that. I have to look straight down. Sorry, I'm going to get my head in the way. But I have to look straight down on it to make sure it's straight. I think that looks pretty straight. But if you don't trust it, then you can use my little trick, which is... I'll show you my little trick. Let me get a black ink cube first. So my little trick is just to take a piece of acetate and put it over the card. And then stamp it on the acetate first, just to make sure that it looks like it's straight. Does that look straight? You're not going to get a great impression, but I think that looks pretty straight. I want to see how it looks with the flowers. Do we have enough room for the flowers? Because that flower can go in just a little bit more. And then this flower can go over here. And then this flower can come out here. And then we get this one up in here, up into that corner. Because I have to make room for the leaves on the sides here, you know what I mean? So I think it's in a good spot. And I think it looks fairly straight. So we're going to go for it. So I'll clean this acetate with my tidy towel real quick so I don't create another problem for myself later. And then I've got everything in place here. So let's ink this up and hope for the best. I'm going to layer this ink on here because I don't want to squish it. It's such a delicate greeting that I'd rather ink it 2 or 3 times to get it up nice and black than to squish it down and have the greeting get distorted. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Better than horrible. That is the standard. Okay, so now, trying not to, let me rub that on my pants. I am going to get a foam square. So give me a second. I've got 2. And then I'm going to lay this out once again. So this is going to be my biggest flower right here. And I think we're going to tuck this one behind it. So let's start with the flattest parts. The greenery. So I'll start with this piece right here. We'll get this one in place first where we want it. So we want to tuck this one up in here, and we're going to have it extend a little bit past, which I like that look, a little bit past the border. And then this one will go in the front of that. Right here. Okay. Then this one will go next, because it's going to go behind this. So we'll put it like right there. Then this one is going to get popped up. Now we're going to add this little swirly thing going down the card. And we could also like tilt it a little bit if we want. It could tilt this way a little bit. But I think I'm going to do it like so that it's right down toward the bottom of the card. I got a little glue on the front there. Get that off. And now we'll slip our two little leaves under there. My two little fussy cut, poorly fussy cut leaves. Get it in there like that. We can spread them out. There we go. And now we'll pop that one up. And I'll tell you, I'm going to move one thing. You know, it's scary to move something once you've placed everything down. I'm going to move this one. I'm going to move it down a little bit because I feel like it is just too high up on the card. And I think I'm actually going to trim it. And you can trim these, you know. You don't have to use them exactly the way they are. You can trim them to make them a little bit smaller so they fit into places better. I'm going to have it just going this way, because I felt like this was kind of down here and then this was way too high. So there we go. Give a little tape on the back of that. There we go. All right, so there's card number 1. Here we go. All right, and let's quick put this one together. Now, it sounds like some of you did not like my idea of a big, bulky greeting, and you like the more delicate greetings. So let's use Thinking of You, since I haven't used that one before. And it is a very delicate card with all of this pretty embossing. So I am in agreement with that. What I love about this stamp set and this greeting set is it doesn't really look crooked because it's a very kind of swirly kind of greeting. But again, if you want to make sure, get rid of these, if you want to make sure that it's not crooked or it doesn't look crooked once it's stamped, go ahead and do that same little technique where you stamp it once. This is a brand new stamp, so I'm going to just rub my finger on it a little.
Okay, so a question about securing the flowers onto the embossing. Is the tape runner enough, or do you need like connect glue?
I think the tape runner is fine. Yeah, the tape runner will stick. I mean, if you like the solidness of the glue, then by all means go with the glue. But I think that the tape runner is enough if that's all you have or all you want to use. Oh, that's so pretty. I like it. I'm just layering the black on there because, again, with a delicate greeting like this, it's better to stamp it several times lightly and just build that black color up than it is to squish really hard trying to transfer a whole bunch of color all at once and then end up, you know, smushing the greeting and distorting it. Okay. So here we go. We'll layer these together. This is a pretty good tape runner. Once you, boy, I cut that so bad. It's so rough, and I have to send this to somebody. So I'm not going to leave it like that. Here we go. Get all that shrapnel off the end there. Okay. I forget what I was going to say. It'll come to me. Oh, the tape runner is really good because it's forgiving. It allows you to move things around a little bit before you're 100% committed. And then once you let it sit for a little bit and dry, then it becomes permanent. And then those are going to go in this area here. It's kind of nice to have the greeting stamped first because you can kind of work around it. Okay, and that's going to be the thing. All right, so we'll get this all placed, and then we're going to give these cards away. But I love the idea, I mean, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this part, but the whole idea of just doing that embossing and leaving room in there to stamp really opens up more ways for you to use your embossing folders. Because it's hard to stamp a greeting. You can stamp it and then you can emboss over it, but then your greeting has all bumps in it. And I don't like the way that looks. So I like having that open space there. I think it's very elegant. And I do tend to use my adhesive dot runner for most of my assembly of these little bits and pieces. Well, that's pretty. I like how the leaf is draping down. Sometimes you just nail something, you know, you put it in the right spot and you're like, okay, nothing can move. It has to stay just like that. I like this flower too.
And that embossing folder is named?
This one is called Tapestry. This one did sell out. I did just place a huge order, so more of these are coming. We could even put one more little sprig over here too if we wanted to, but I think that that looks good. I am going to test it though to see how it would look with one more little thing. And it doesn't have to be a whole thing. You know, you can take a little piece and trim the ephemera. Let me know if you think that would be pretty right there. I think so. I think it needs something down in this bottom. Just a little something. Just to finish it off. There we go. Okay. So yes, we reordered all of our embossing folders. I think 3 of them are still available. The Tapestry one did sell out, but the Petite Flourish, the Swiss Dot, the Lattice are all still available, I believe. They're selling quickly, but we are getting more. And I know a lot of you already got them. And just because something sells out, I don't want to stop using it, because my point when I make these videos is to inspire you to use the things that you have either purchased or already have, not always to just sell you something new. So hopefully you guys who have these, and if you don't have these, use what you have. You have other embossing folders. You can do this similar technique using this technique. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Tom, we're going to give both of these cards away today.
All right. We have winners.
We have winners. You know what? This one needs sequins. This one needs like something in the center here.
Oh, you're still working.
Well, yeah. I mean, even like a little dewdrop. Wouldn't that be pretty right there in the center?
Dewdrop.
Can you see the dewdrop? That was just one that shot across the room at me.
No, I can't see it now, but you'd have to tilt it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, even a sequin would be pretty. All right. Well, I'll think about that. But,
okay.
Okay.
So let's do a drum roll.
All right, a drum roll. Wait, which card are we giving away first? Blue one?
Tell me.
Let's do the blue one first.
Hello Friend goes to Sandee Ihleafeldt.
Sandee, congratulations. Woohoo. All right, Sandee. And who is going to get the Thinking of You?
All right, Thinking of You. Let's give that to Diane Taulborg.
Diane, congratulations. All right, if you ladies would send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com, we will get those right out to you. And I just sent a whole batch of cards out yesterday. So if some of you who won are still waiting for your card, they're on their way. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. I love spending time with you. Tom does too. We hope that you'll give this technique a try. And I'll be back with a 5-minute card video sometime this weekend. So I hope you'll look forward to that. And then Tom and I will be back again next Tuesday night with another Stampin' Chat Live. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.